The Clark County Auditor serves as the county's chief financial officer and oversees several essential county services, including elections, internal audits, recording legal documents, auto and marriage licenses, and financial services. Recently, we sat down with Auditor Greg Kimsey, who has served in the elected role since 1999, to talk about the recent election and learn how his office has adapted since the pandemic.
Hello, I'm Jim Denman with Clark County Close-Up. Thank you so much for meeting with us.
I'm happy to be here, Jim.
So, Greg, what are some of the main services provided by your office?
Well, the office has a very wide portfolio of responsibilities. I serve as the primary financial officer for county government. We keep track of where all the money comes from, where it all goes. We report on the financial results and condition to the public. We ensure through our internal control review process that the public's assets are safeguarded. We conduct performance audits, we pay all the bills, so we do payroll for about 1,800 people. That's where the greatest number of employees in the office are. And then also we record legal documents, issue marriage licenses. I also serve as an agent for the Washington State Department of Licensing, and then in that role we have responsibility of oversight of 9 private businesses, the licensing sub-agents that are throughout the county. And then of course the area that gets the highest level of public attention is we register people to vote and conduct all public elections.
Okay. So what is your relationship with Clark County government?
So I'm an employee of Clark County. However, I'm also an independently elected official. And so my responsibility is to carry out the responsibilities given to me by the Constitution and state law. And the responsibilities I have within county government or the relationship to the legislative body of the county government is that they give me the money to carry out my responsibilities. So the legislative body, the county council, is required to give me money to carry out my responsibilities. Now, it doesn't say at what level of those responsibilities or what quality or quantity of those tasks are carried out, but that's the relationship. The county council approves a budget, and then I spend that budget carrying out the responsibilities that I have from statute and the Constitution.
Okay. What do you see as some of the biggest challenges facing the auditor's office?
Well, you know, we continue to have a relatively small number, but a vocal group of people who continue to believe Donald Trump's lies about the integrity of the elections administration process. Here in Clark County in the state of Washington, citizens should have a very high level of confidence in the accuracy of the election results, that those results demonstrate or show, reflect the will of the voters who cast their ballots. So that continues to be a challenge for us. Also, while the county currently is in pretty good financial condition as a result of all the federal coronavirus relief monies that came, we continue to face, in the longer term, this structural deficit, where the voters have imposed through the initiative process, a 1% limitation on increase in property taxes. But when you have wages and benefits that represent about 70% of your costs, historically those costs, wages and benefits, go up more than 1% per year. So we've been in that situation for a long time. We've been able to manage through it, but it will continue to be an issue for the county.
Okay. What about opportunities?
Well, the opportunity is because the auditor's office has such a wide portfolio of responsibilities, we have more direct interaction with citizens than any other elected office. And that gives us the opportunity with every interaction to improve citizens' confidence in their government. And that's the challenge that we have, that we talk about all the time in the office. Every interaction we have with citizens, whether it's through the mail, over the phone, face-to-face, the way we interact, the way we serve those citizens is an opportunity to improve their confidence in their government.
Okay. A general election night was held on November 7th. We're recording this interview on the 17th of November. How did the elections go this year?
The election went well. We had a couple of challenges. The county had a suspicious activity on our internet servers, And as a result of the good work by the Secretary, and of course, as you know, our election is managed in large part through the statewide voter registration system, election management system called VoteWA, that's managed by the Secretary of State's office. And then also, so that suspicious activity on the network, again, the good work from the Secretary of State's security team and the county's information technology team, we very quickly completely isolated the elections process from the county system, and we proceeded on with really out of hitch. And it did not in any way slow down the processing of ballots, did not interfere in any way with the tabulation of results. And it is a good reminder, though, to everyone who's watching this that security of your technology infrastructure is a very, very important task that we should all be thinking about pretty much continuously, because the bad guys are thinking about it continuously, not just thinking about it, but taking actions.
Sure, good reminder. What was the voter turnout this year?
Well, so that's not such a happy story. We're at about 27% for this year's general election. You know, it's unfortunate. You know, these offices that are on the ballot are offices that affect people's lives day to day, and we certainly would like to see more people participate. And you know, I think we make it pretty convenient for voters in this state, in this county, to participate, and would encourage folks to cast their ballot. The more people who participate, the better the system works.
Okay. Now, some election offices in Oregon and Washington received some suspicious mail. Did your office receive anything?
Yeah, thankfully, we did not. Yeah, there were 5 counties in the state of Washington that received envelopes, not ballot envelopes, but just, you know, kind of plain white envelopes that contained white powder. I think in 3 of those counties, that white powder was field tested and demonstrated it contained fentanyl. So very unfortunate. And then also, as you might know, across the country, this happened in a couple of states as well. Lane County, Oregon, just south of us. And so we've taken, and I think all the counties in Washington have taken some additional steps to segregate non-election mail and then open that in a more safe and secure manner.
Okay. Now, we were talking before the interview, this is going to be a longer response. It's very complicated, but can you give us a brief overview of the steps your office takes to ensure elections are secure and all valid ballots are counted?
Well, I'm not sure how brief I can be. As we talked earlier, I would refer folks who are interested in that to on our website. CVTV has put together a fabulous video. I think it's about 15 minutes long.
Yes.
That goes from the entire process of issuance of ballots to the tabulation of results. And clarkvotes.org is a really good resource for people who are interested in that. Of course, also, anyone who has any concerns or interest in the election administration process are encouraged to give me a call, send me an email. I'm happy to talk to anyone for as long as they're willing to listen about election administration process. But with that said, the vote by mail system, the primary security feature is the signature on that affidavit envelope. And so I'd encourage folks to think really carefully about their signature. Many people register to vote through the Department of Licensing or registered online. If you register online, it's your signature on your driver's license that we use. So I'd really encourage folks to think about that signature when they're signing that affidavit envelope. If it's determined that the signature doesn't match, they're contacted, and then I'd encourage them to follow the instructions that they're provided on how to cure that signature.
In each ballot, the signature is reviewed.
Every ballot affidavit envelope that's received is reviewed by a human that's been trained by the Washington State Patrol, and that signature on that ballot affidavit envelope is compared to the voter's signature in the voter registration system. I also, in an effort to keep this brief, another important point is that all the ballot tabulation equipment is not connected to the internet. It is in a room that is secured, is not connected to the internet, and is using software that's been tested and certified by the federal government as well as the Secretary of State. But again, anyone with questions or concerns about elections, I encourage them to give me a call or send me an email. Come on down to the elections office, we'll give you a tour.
And watch that documentary.
And watch the documentary, absolutely.
So next year is a presidential election, which typically pulls in the largest turnout. Are you taking any additional steps to prepare for next year's election season?
Well, thank you for that question, Jim. We are. The council, I mentioned earlier, the county council's obligation to provide funds so that we can carry out our responsibilities. And the council just recently approved a $4.7 million so we can expand the elections work area. That expansion will allow us to achieve our goal of on election night, that the election results we issue on election night, the preliminary election results, reflect all of the ballots we receive as of that morning. So all of the ballots that are in our offices as the morning of election day that are what we call good ballots, the accepted ballots, they're not been challenged because of signature issues. All of those accepted ballots are included in the preliminary election results election night. In order to do that, the ballot processing requires humans, and increase in ballots require more humans. And so more humans require more space, and that's what the $4.7 million is going to be spent on. So that's the big action for this year's presidential election, upcoming presidential election.
Great. The pandemic really changed how businesses are run, how everything's run. What innovations have your office implemented for the last few years to help streamline processes?
Well, yeah, it certainly had a big impact. However, for elections and for licensing, even pretty much for recording, we had humans in the office throughout the entire pandemic. Open to the public. Certainly licensing and elections were open to the, well, elections was open to the public the entire time. Licensing was, we had people in the office because they were working on states' Department of Licensing systems, and they're not allowed to do that remotely. But the elections office was open to the public through the entire pandemic period. In the financial services area, where again, as I mentioned, most of the employees in the auditor's office are employed, many of those folks are now working remotely, and it's really worked out really well. We monitor the quality and the quantity of the work. People's productivity is actually improved as a result of working remotely, and it has created a challenge for the county. We have a lot of open space in the public service center, and the county is working hard to figure that out. But there's a lot of empty space in the public service center.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our viewers?
Well, I guess I'd encourage folks to really, first and foremost, vote your ballot, vote the ballot that we send you. And then secondly, you have any questions, concerns about the elections administration process, don't hesitate to contact me, contact the elections office. And then finally, if there's any aspect of the auditor's office that people are interested in, again, give me a call, send me an email, I'm happy to talk about it.
And for the auditor's office website, clark.wa.gov/auditor.
And elections is a little easier. Elections is just clarkvotes.org.
Okay.
Clarkvotes.org.
And then the number I have for the auditor's office, 564-397-2310.
Very good.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for meeting with us.
Yeah, thank you.